Master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guruho Shiyuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, Chaitanya, and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishakha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishbhanu Sute Devi Parnamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishbhanu and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vancha kalpatrubhascha kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo nama. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desires trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Mahavishnu Goswaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadev, the author. Nashtaprayashava Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Tagore Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nectar of Instructions ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, so we're going to start today from text 1. And so reading or reciting the verses, there is a particular way that I've been taught and learned. So when we recite verses, each verse have a particular meter. So this verse we'll sing in a particular meter that will then it will be very easy to remember, because these verses we need to remember by heart. And and again, once we recite the verses, after that the word-to-word meanings, synonyms, they are very important also, because Srila Prabhupada spent so much time on translating each word. And when we read those word-to-word meanings, so we read them before going to translation. So we don't jump into translation straight away. So we just read it and try to understand what verse is saying. And this how we can have some idea what is verse about, and then translation. And another way, once we done this, then we can read these verses all the time, like when taking the shower, having prasadam, going somewhere. So we can just, if we start from the morning, by the evening time, the verse will be, we can remember by heart. So, so right. So we'll start with the first verse, and I will recite first in a meter. Then the participants will recite one by one. Okay. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jivha vegam udropastha vegam etan vegan yo vishet dhiraha sarvam api mam prithvim sasisha. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jivha vegam udropastha vegam etan vegan yo vishet dhiraha sarvam api mam prithvim sasisya. You will see in the verse.
If they've got the verse with them, should we check? Although we gave them a link last time, have you got it open with you? Because you have to sing as well in the chorus, please.
Yes, Prabhu. I think, can we put it on the window, or?
Yeah, we can. I have to be around for that, all the time.
Okay.
If you've got it with you people, then
it would be good, yeah. If
you have it with you, then you can just follow him through this. Okay, all right.
Okay, Prabhu. I'll recite once more, and you will see there is a dot on the top of some words, like in the first line, dot on the top of M. So that word you have to stress a little bit more, like Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jivha vegam udropastha vegam etan vegan yo vishet dhiraha sarvam api mam prithvim sasisya. All right. So Mataji, would you like to start now? Divanshi Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udarupastha vegam etan vegan yo vishet dhiraha sarvam api mam prithvim sasisya.
Very nice. Very nice. Once more, Madam.
Okay. The one in the second line, Jiva Vegam, that also supposed to be pronounced Wrong?
No,
It does
because
not have a dot.
only the dot you will see on the top of M.
Okay.
The other one is short M.
Okay. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udarupastha vegam etan vegan yovishahet dhirah sarvamapi mam prithvim sashashyam.
Very good. Very nice, Mataji. Now, Soumya Mataji, you can start.
Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jihva vegam udarupasya vegam etan vegan yuvishet dhira sarvamapi mam prithvim sashishyat.
Very nice. Once more, Mataji.
Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jihva vegam udarupasya vegam etan vegan yuvishet dhira sarvamapi mam prithvim sashishyat.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Okay, past Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udurupastha vegam etan vegan yovishahet dhirah sarvamapi mam prithvim sashishyat.
Very nice. Once more, Prabhu.
Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udurupastha vegam etan vegan yuvishahet dhirah sarvamapi mam prithvim sashishyat.
Very good. So, very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. So we we recited now. We know the meter, and now we'll go to word synonyms. Word synonym translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vachaha, of speech. So you can recite after me or say it after me without your mics should be muted. Otherwise, it will be disturbance. Vachaha, of speech. Vegam, urge. Manasaha, of the mind. Krodha, of anger. Vegam, urge. Jihva, of the tongue. Vegam, urge. Udra upastha, of the belly and genitals. Vegam, urge. Etan, these. Vegan, urges. Yah, whoever. Vishaheta, can tolerate. Dhiraha, sober. Sarvam, all. Api, certainly. Imam, this. Prithvim, word. Saha, that personality. Shishyat, can make disciples. So, so it goes like that. Of speech, urge. Of the mind. Of anger, urge. Of the tongue, urge. Of the belly and genitals, urge. These urges, whoever can tolerate sober, all certainly this world, that personality can make disciples. So from here we can have some idea that what is talking about the verse, and we can see the first line, Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. Vacho of the speech. So the urge to speak, Manasah Krodha Vegam means the anger, urge, the angers and mind, Veg means the urges, and then Jiva Vegam, Udra Upast Vegam, and the tongue, belly and genitals, urges. Etan Vegan Yo Vishahet Dhira means these urges can tolerate. That Dhira means sober person. Sarvam Pimam Prithvim Sasishyat means all over the world can make disciples. So that's how we can word towards synonyms, we can have a idea of the verse that verse is talking about, and then it's help us to remember also our vocabulary and the meaning of the verse we understand. Okay, now we'll read the translation. So first I will read, and you can say it after me. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So I read it again. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So in the translation, we can see there's four kinds of urges told to be tolerated. These are called urges because these are impulsive. When urge comes, it is very strong, but it goes away after and comes back again after a while. Same like those pulses, going up and down. So when the urge comes, it's very strong. So in the translation, from translation, we can see that these urges telling us, the instruction telling us to tolerate them. And then the actions of anger. So when we are angry, we want to do something, some actions, to vent out the anger. Because you will notice that the waves of those, the speaking and mind, they call differently, like the urges, and then these actions of anger, and then the mind's demands. Mind always demands. So sober person who tolerate these 6 kinds of urges, who is sober. Now we can see in general talking also, the people who are drinking alcohol and who don't drink alcohol, he's a sober person. So the intoxicant that's the gross example, but intoxicant can be in different types. So who's not intoxicant of any kind of this material desires, he can be called sober, but sober person is more than that. So who's not intoxicant or under the influence of any sense gratificatory desires. So he can control his senses. So here from the translation, we can understand that there are urges here that talked about that we need to control, and the actions of anger and mind's demands. And in the purport, we will see that how Srila Prabhupada given very elaborate purport. It's very long. So we're going to divide it into 2 parts. Half purport we'll take it in part 1, and then another one part 2. So what we'll do, I think, yes. So we'll read the purport now. So is there anyone, maybe Mataji, you can read? You can see Mataji? Yes.
One second.
You got the book, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I was
Yes,
just
Prabhu.
putting that on the speed screen. I should
It's the
start
same
with the
website,
purport.
right? It's the same website you're using, right?
Yes, yes, Prabhupada.io.
Thank you.
I'll start with the purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, Verse 9 and 10, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Shukadev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see a thief arrested by the police. Yet, he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law books and the Shastras or scriptures that stealing is not good and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? Thus Parikshit Maharaj inquired, should I sing this verse as well?
Yes, if you are, yes, this is a, yeah, this is a, yeah, you can sing, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah.
दृष्टश्रुताभ्यां यत् पापं जाननप्यात्मनो हितं करोति भूयो विवशः प्रायश्चित्तम् अथो कथम् क्वचिन्निवर्तते भद्रात् क्वचिच्चरति यत् पुनः प्रायश्चित्तम् अथो पार्थम् मन्ये कुञ्जरशोचवत्.
Very nice, Mataji.
He compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in the river, but as soon as it comes onto the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. What then is the value of its bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Balad Yasihi Papa Buddhi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. This kind of prayashchita or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Shukadev Goswami, equally intelligent, as befitting the spiritual master of Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A simple activity can be counteracted by a pious activity. Thus, real prayashchit, atonement, is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness. Real atonement.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes. We can stop here and discuss a couple of points here. So, from here, Srila Prabhupada is talking about the atonement, and Srila Prabhupada given the references from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, so what number one point is the sense control. So our senses wants to enjoy loosely. but we are suffering because of this. So the first point is why atonement? If no control over senses. That's how Prabhupada also explaining here. That if we can't control it, why we do atonement? No? So the example here, the reference here is given the from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So these two verses are very important verses. So the first verse, the word we can notice is vivasha. Vivash. We also heard this word vivash. Vivash means like helpless. So unable to control himself. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that one who is attached to sense enjoyment will commit sinful acts again and again until he is trained to refrain from enjoying his senses. So the word vivasha is used here in indicating that even one who does not want to commit sinful acts will be forced to do so by habit. So here we notice that we become vivash from our habits. So when we develop those bad habits and we do things and our routine and our habits are there, so we feel helpless. We can't control. That's how what's the point of atonement? Because you are so attached to your sense gratification that Monday to Saturday you gratify, or especially Saturday you gratify your senses, and the Sunday you go to church and do atonement. Not just the Christian, but it's the general everybody nowadays. It's a Western culture. So what's the point of that? Because we need to look into the root of it. Why it's happening? So now this is important, that our habits forcing us to do such acts again and again. We are vivash, so we need to change our habits. So His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said that if we do Mangal Arti, it's like bringing back the Vedic culture. So Mangal Arti means getting up before sunrise. This is a good habit, bringing the mode of goodness. Similarly, so many other good habits we can adopt, and our bad habits will go away slowly. So it's the first thing that in the sense control, that we change our routine, we change our habits. Slowly, the bad habits will go and we adopt the good habits. Srila Prabhupada said that if you want to be a first-class drunkard, you associate with drunkard people, then you will become nicely what this sort of whiskey is, what this sort of, but if you want to be a first-class devotee, you associate with devotees. Then you are like-minded devotees. Then you learn about philosophy of Krishna, and that's what we're doing. So it's not that habits can't change, we can't change, we can change. So it's the association. When we associate with the right kind of devotees and like-minded devotees, then the habits will change. Now, okay, so we'll read again. We'll read further, Mataji. The real atonement.
Yes, real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this, there is a standard process. When one follows a regulated, hygienic process, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Such a methodical life is described as tapasya. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yoga asanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of pure devotees, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process, simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, refraining from sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This easy process is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. First, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity, we begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all sorts of nonsense. A toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake. Please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on talking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence, the external process of maun. As Mayavadi philosophers think, silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. The meaning of controlled speech, conveyed by Srila Rupa Goswami, advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process and glorifying the Supreme Lord Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preaching of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak.
Yes, Mata. We'll stop here and discuss on these points. So the next point is the tapasya. Prabhupada are talking about tapasya. Yeah, human beings are meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. This is called tapasya. Because otherwise, what's the difference between animal and human being? We are also animal. If we are just ahar, nitra, bhaya, maithun, those four things, if we're doing that, so we are on the same level. So tapasya doesn't mean to go to jungle and meditate and starve. This kind of Ashtanga yoga process, this is called Ashtanga yoga process. They are not recommended in this age. Yes, they are calling tapasya like controlling senses, but they are not recommended in this age, because in modern age we can't follow this, and our bodies are also so habitual of comfort that we won't survive even one day there. So so this kind of Ashtanga yoga process is not recommended in this age. This age, the yuga dharma is Sankirtan Yagna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So chanting the holy name and devotion service purifying us. But still, this process seems like big austerity nowadays, because we become so habitual of bodily comforts that regulative principles are like a big austerity. Those four principles Prabhupada explain here: no meat eating, no intoxicant, no illicit sex, no gambling. These are the fundamental principles that we have to follow to come to a human level. If we're not following those, we are still at animal level. So these are to bring us into the human level so we can start understanding and following bhakti. So this tapasya is recommends here to control and tolerate our urges. And then the first urge that we studied, that is vacho vegam. Now, urge to speak. Srila Prabhupada is saying, and he gave the example of a field toad, frog, that he's croaking, simply invites to snake, please come and eat me. So actually, this is the position of today's human being. Even like everyone is busy in giving his opinion, that vacha, the power of speaking. So And this vacha is very important. Like it's influence our thinking. Nowadays, like we got so many social media platforms, Twitter and all that, especially the Twitter. So you do one tweet and everyone is jumping up and down and giving their opinion and getting upset and this and that. So and winding up people. So people are getting upset and in favor. And then again, the free speech issue, we should have a free speech, and media houses building narratives on different topics. So these all the power of vacha that's influencing our thinking, influencing people thinking. So this urge to speak is very strong. But if you engage this vacha vegam in Krishna Katha, then this we can tolerate that. Because Srila Prabhupada said that preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This way we are not like field toad croaking, inviting death. Instead, we are glorifying the Lord and his pastimes, which give us liberation from birth and death. So this is a very good example how we can control our speech. It's not like that we become monk, like as Prabhupada said, that like impersonalist. There are some techniques in meditation like vipassana and all that. The way people go there, they spend 1 week there, not talking. You feel peaceful, but eventually you have to come back in the society. Then what will happen then? Then again in the same routine, same habit. So it's not the you treat the symptoms, you treat the cause. And so the cause is like it's the everyone have this urge. So we just direct it into the right direction. And that is a Krishna Katha. We discuss, we recite verses, we remember verses, we read Srila Prabhupada books, So that's how we can tolerate this urge. So now these are the 6 kinds of urges here. The second one is manasaha. So we'll read that. Yes, Mataji, where we stopped is the restlessness of flickerness. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, just wanted to ask, I think even Part Prabhu has put a question on the chat box. Should we ask our questions right now or wait till the end of the class?
If you have any question, you can ask as we go. Yes, you can ask. Yes, madam.
You can ask as we go.
Do you have?
Yes, I do have a question. Yes.
Okay.
I'll just ask one. I have plenty questions. But a first question is that so like we said that like the child committing sins on the strength of chanting. So my question is that it is one of the most grievous offenses, right? To commit sins on the strength of chanting. So like I know this is purely like a speculative question, but is this person who's committing sins on the strength of chanting better or worse than someone who's not chanting at all?
Yeah, see, mother. Like when we come into contact with Srila Prabhupada and his message and Lord Chaitanya's Mahaprabhu's movement, that is Sankirtan Mahayagna, because everyone can hear Sankirtana, holy name of the Lord. And when we start chanting, we can't control our mind. Like our mind goes here and there, because we're not used to it. So this is like we're learning it. So obviously our minds will go and here there. But you are asking who's committing sins on the strength of chanting. Yes. So these are offenses, 10 offenses. We always recite first thing like after Aarti in the morning. So we remind us that we should not commit those offenses. But again, yes, if we don't understand or we are not understanding the principles, we will commit sinful offenses for a beginning. But as we progress on this path, we will we'll understand that these are offenses we shouldn't commit. Obviously, the person who is chanting holy name of the Lord is better off than the person who's not chanting, because there is no loss. Prabhupada also mentioned, and in Lord Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 2.40, there is no loss on this path. So even if you are not doing it properly, committing so many offenses in chanting the holy name, you're still better off. And there is no loss on this part. So on your part, you're not losing anything. You're just chanting the holy name. In return, you are getting purified as per your qualification, or as per your because we have so many anarthas in us, contaminations. So slowly we'll get purified. So yes, Mataji. So is that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu, that answers my question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Parth Prabhu, you wanted to ask as well.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you for the nice class. Yeah,
Hare
I had a question in the first paragraph.
Yes.
So, like, related to the answer, Mataji's question of the. So, Prabhu, we talked about how we become vivash, right, out of habits in a certain activity. My question is, Prabhu, and Prabhupada is also talking about tapasya in the later verses. Now, when we go out in the world, right, so, and there are obviously, I am not purified. I have a lot of lust, I have a lot of greed. And when I go out there, my senses are also uncontrolled, right? So they want to do all sorts of things. But in the back of the mind, I know that yes, I need to do my chanting, I need to do reading, I need to do all of these activities. But at the same time, my desires are like, they want me to indulge in that wrong thing. Now that wrong thing can be anything. I'm just taking an example of, let's say, eating out at a food outlet where they don't serve prasadam, they have onion in that, let's say. So you have a desire of the tongue. We are talking about Vachudai. So I have that way to like eat there. Now, how do I at that point decide that, okay, whether I should rely on the process of chanting and slowly it will be cleansed, or should I do tapasya, as in fully control the mind? No, I'm not going to eat, that's it. Or should I tell myself, no, I have a desire and I am chanting, I'm doing my 16 rounds. Slowly, it will get purified automatically. So let me go and eat that burger, or let me go and eat that Subway or whatever. Like, are you getting the question?
Yes. Thank you.
If
Thank you, Prabhu.
possible, can you please
So,
answer?
yeah, this is actually a it's very big problem. Means our minds giving us is deceiving us. Oh, we're doing so much chanting and all that. It's all right. We can do that. But again, that we have, like, there are difference between principles. We have to follow the principles. Obviously, when we go out all the time, we can't have prasadam, but we can have fruits and pray to Krishna. So there are practical solutions to that also. And again, when we can't just sort of forcefully control, because otherwise you will be one day you won't do anything, because force doesn't work. And yes, in certain extent, you have to restrict yourself for that temptation. But the real change will start happening when you do more tapasya. More strictly you following principles, strictly you following your sadhana, then you're getting purified. And when you are purified, the mode of goodness is more prevalent. Because these things happens, and again, when we studied first, these are impulsive. They are impulsive. So they come really forcefully on you. But if you are restrict yourself and tolerate them little bit, they go down again. And then they will come back again. It's not like Amrish Prabhu always saying that a devotee is like, we also fall down every day, but devotee means he get up again and start doing again. So it's not that like we are not falling down. I'm not falling down. I fall down as well. But devotee means you know your goal. You know your goal. You stand up again and start again. And if you just fall down and you said, "Oh, I fall down, I'm not doing it," so it means that's not devotee. Because falling down is normal, because we are in this material world. In material world, you can't stop yourself by falling down. The extraordinary thing is you get up again and start doing it. That is the symptom of devotee. So yes, we get temptation, and we our mind gives us the excuses and allurements that, oh, we're doing this, it's okay to eat. But again, there are practical solutions to it. Like, you can't starve yourself. So if you want to eat something, eat fruits, eat those sort of things that are less, because when one of the main thing is we don't eat outside is, first is it's not offered to Krishna. And people who cook, who make, their mentality, like how, oh yeah, what sort of mind they have at that time, it goes into that thoughts. And when you having those, you also, it will disturb you. So that also another reason. So yes, Prabhuji, there are practical solutions to it, but again, we can't loosely just lose our senses. So we have to restrict on certain, we have to stick to certain principles. Yes, Prabhuji, is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. But Prabhu, so sticking to this principle, so do we make our own standards as we go? Like, I think Prabhu said that make a standard and follow it. But like, it's like if you're like just doing let's say 8 rounds a day, then make that standard and stick to it. Don't come below that. Then slowly increase. So Prabhu, is that kind of what you're trying to convey? Ki say if you're going out and right now you know your tongue is not that controlled, but you make a point ki, okay, I won't let's say a person who's coming from a non-vegetarian background, he loves indulging in non-veg food. So for him, the first standard is not indulging in non-veg, and prasadam is too far away. But he has set a standard, I won't eat non-veg now. I will eat, let's say, vegetarian and all. So this is what you're trying to say. Slowly, we make our standards also, and we raise our chanting also. And then is this?
Yes, Prabhu. That's the one. You understood very nicely. Yes, you make a standard and you follow that. Don't fall down from that. And then you have to take one step above, and then increase your level. Because as I said, that we can't just straight away, we read this, okay, we have to control all 6 urges, and okay, tomorrow I'm going to do all of them. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So that is the practical solution. Like, you set a standard, you stick to it, and then you will increase slowly. So again, like in chanting also, we start with smaller number of rounds, then we increase, and then 16, and then we'll increase also as we go. So it's yeah, that is very practical solution that you understood. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we come to the time, because of the next class we have to start. So we will stop here, and then we will discuss next week rest of the purport and more points. And Soumya Mataji, if you have any question, or then we can because of time restrictions, we can discuss it next week. You can write down, or
No, Prabhuji, I don't have any questions as of now.
okay, Mataji. Right. So yes, so I will stop here. I'll make a mark here on the purport where we stopped, and then next week we will start from there and discuss more points, because it's quite a big purport. So if we can't cover it in 2 parts, we will go into third one. So that's all right. All right. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Kamlesh Prabhu.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. We will now discontinue the YouTube channel now. and we'll come back on YouTube